Are live, my friend. All right, good evening, everybody. This is James W. Falcon, founder and host of the Encouragement is Key Network, but of the Encouragement by Design YouTube channel. This is When Men Speaks, Man to Man. I have a very important guest tonight, longtime friend of mine, and a gentleman who is going to share with us from his journey of understanding the greater importance of making sure that we are aware of our own mental health status. Welcome on the broadcast, if you will, everybody, with me, Mr. James Gause Jr. James, how are you, sir?
I'm wonderful. And yourself, sir?
I am wonderful also, sir. So, it's always special when I get a chance to interview somebody with the same first name. Now, have you found out like I have? I haven't met a James yet that's not a character. What about you?
Not at all. Not one yet.
Every James I've ever met is a character. So
yeah.
You about as straight-laced as I think James has come. But I appreciate you being here, brother. It's been a minute or two since we've met each other originally, isn't it?
It has. It has. It's been a while.
High school.
Yeah. It's been a long while.
Plus 20, 30 years ago now, right?
Plus 30, yeah.
That's right. Tell everybody what high school it was that we were a part of, if you would, sir, please.
The amazing Calvert Hall College High School.
There you go. There you go.
Maryland.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're back in the day, man. And here we are standing by the grace of God tonight. Brother James, yes. I reached out to you, just checking in with you. Hadn't talked to you in a minute. I've always known you to be since high school, a consummate businessman. And I was checking on you regarding your business. And you shared something very special, very private with me in that conversation. I said, well, James, do you feel comfortable enough about coming on this show and sharing with everybody publicly what we shared privately, which was talking about the importance of understanding our own mental health status? Thankfully, you said, yes, here we are. Would you take us into your journey, James, in terms of, if you wouldn't mind, the hit the wall experience you had, and then bring us forward to how you recovered from that and how you are continuing to recover from that, if you don't mind, sir, please.
I would say about 2.5 years ago, about 3 years ago, I did not realize, one, that I was going through depression, and two, the impact that it was having on my life.
Gotcha.
Did not realize that a lot of my actions, almost all of my actions, was because unknowingly I was battling severe depression.
Gotcha.
And it took, when I started working at my current employer, 2019, 2020, because of my position, I had to move closer to DC during that time. So I had moved to Alexandria, Virginia, in the beginning of 2000, towards the end of 2020.
Gotcha.
I moved to Alexandria, Virginia. And it was in that time it was just me, that I really started dealing with it more. And I had the hit the wall moment, because aside from other things that we're going to later, the hit the wall moment was the suicidal thoughts. When I started having the moments and the contemplation of, would it even matter if I made it through the night or through the morning?
Gotcha.
Would anybody would even care? Would it even bother anybody for a moment?
Wow.
So I had lost all self-worth of myself in my own life.
Okay.
And so that was the hit the ball.
Wow, man, I'm really sorry to hear
moment that.
Yeah, really sorry to hear.
And it was just a lot stemming. It was family issues, marital issues, which is now I'm divorced now. So it was going through all of that and a lot of that, and dealing with all of that together with what I thought that I was dealing with health issues was actually in turn of my stress and depression causing the health issues.
Gotcha.
So not realizing that the stress and the depression that I was going through was causing the emotional eating, the eating disorders, the heart issues. What I thought I had a heart issue, and it after all the tests came back negative, um, it was just stress.
Wow.
It was just the depression, not wanting to go out, not wanting to do anything,
Wow.
not even wanting to do the basics of taking care of myself
I understand.
because I was so depressed.
Sure.
So it was that hit the wall moment of realizing that I need to get help, need to figure out something, and this was all the while, and this is one of the things that really started pushing me to become an even major advocate of men's mental health, and especially Black men mental health, because as Black men, we were always raised to be strong,
Right.
to guard your emotions, to not wear your heart on your sleeve.
Right.
We was always raised like that. Men don't cry.
Right.
You know, if you cried or shared your emotions, then you were soft. You even to the extent of someone would even may call you a punk
Right.
because you shared your emotions, you expressed yourself. So that is how the average Black man, myself, I can't speak for everyone, but was raised. And then being raised in a Southern country, Black Christian church going family,
Got you.
pray. Just pray about it. Just give it to God. And then if something was really wrong, then you must be doing something wrong in your life.
Right. So then the blame starts to come your way, right?
Right.
So then, if I may, Brother James, jump in for a second. So then you have your issues that are colliding with other issues on a mental, physical, emotional level. You've got the lack of support from key people in your community and family who are trying to put their fears on you and their judgment by saying that you must be doing something wrong as to why these things surface. It makes for, as my mother used to say, a very ugly pot of soup.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry that you had to deal with that, brother, but I got to tell you, publicly, as I shared privately, man, I am so glad that you decided to take a bold. I'm not talking about just coming tonight to talk about, but I'm so glad in your private life, you decided to take and make a big, bold step toward your own health and healing. Man, I salute you for that. I would put a hat on just so I can tip it to you. But that is huge because many people stay in their situation way too long, thinking like the people around them are telling them that they did something wrong and they have themselves to believe that they can fix it. Well, the thing that I want to make sure everybody listening to this and everybody that would view this would understand is if you got into the situation and you didn't realize how you got there, the chances of you getting yourself out are slim. So if you're listening, whoever you are, please hear us and understand it's okay to get help. And I'm going to give everybody some very key information in just a minute or two. James, pick back up where you left off, sir. My apologies for cutting
Oh
across you
no.
there.
No, definitely. No, everything you said is 100, 1000% facts. So dealing with all of that you just said coming together. So now realizing that I need to get help, but then still not getting it. It's one thing to acknowledge the fact that, yeah, I need to get help, but then the next step is actually following through with it.
Got you.
And so the follow through took a minute because now I'm concerned what others are going to say, what others are going to think.
Wow.
I'm concerned what the church is going to say. I'm
So then
concerned
your burden kept getting heavier and heavier, right? Oh,
because I'm concerned with now how the church folks going to react, how the saints going to react. What are they going to say? I'm preaching this and I'm preaching and standing in front of the church and members and congregations and being invited to other churches to preach. What are they going to think now?
Right.
Because I'm dealing with this. So here come the addictions, not just food addictions, but alcohol addiction. I became a functioning alcoholic because I was born and raised in the church. I'm a convention baby. I know how to do church.
Wow.
So in knowing how to do church, I can come do church at the Just Been Up Drinking on Saturday night.
Wow, man, that's deep, brother.
I can come do church and then leave out. And I got a bottle in the back of my truck, and that's on my mind as soon as I get out of church because I know how to do church. So because of my familiarity with what and then here's the thing, because of my familiarity with what I'm anointed and called to do, I'm able to do it.
And still keep functioning.
So no one can see that I'm dealing with all of this. I'm preaching through all of this. And, you know, it moved me. Then I'm working. I'm not as quick as I need as I think I should be, but I'm working on a
Okay.
And it's not just for preachers, because I think that so many different positions or folks in church have dealt with or dealing with this, that you're in darkness, but you're still serving and nobody realizes because you know how to serve.
Because you know how to serve. So you keep your head down to the plow, as we say. In the meantime, you are getting hammered from all sides and you're trying to save face so that you don't show anything less than what a minister or a preacher is supposed to be. So the entire time, if I may say so, and I speak, unfortunately, with the knowledge that, because I was in the same situation that you were, different set of circumstances, but I know exactly the burdens you were carrying, unfortunately. But thankfully, for the sake of this broadcast, and for anybody who's listening, so what winds up happening is you keep taking losses. But because you're still functioning, you're declaring yourself victorious. You're thinking it's not that bad because I'm still going to work. I'm still preaching. The Lord is still using me in the ways that I'm gifted and anointed. You don't have a crash and burn. When in actuality, a crash and burn is what we need in those situations to shake us up, to make us realize that it's not okay. Things are not normal. We're not in a good place, in a good space. But go ahead, pick up from there, brother. My apologies.
No, good. No, exactly. So going through all of that, and I finally get to the point where, all right, I need to do something because I didn't have that crash and burn, but I had that desert season where everything dried up. And so where everything dried up, it was in that moment and in that season where I had some sleepless nights.
Got you.
I had some nights where God and I battled. And if you don't believe that people battle with God, just ask Jacob.
Right.
Jacob fought all night long. I said, I ain't gonna let go until you bless me.
Wow.
So I had those battles, those crying nights where something has to give. And
now,
so
James, tell everybody real quick. So over how long a period of time was this now? From at this point, how long had you been dealing? How long had you been in the well, so to speak?
I thought that it was a good 2.5 years.
Wow.
To going on 3 years. Now being being in therapy regularly, weekly, it has brought out things that this has been since my childhood. That a lot of my issues in the way that I dealt with relationships, dealt with people, dealt with a lot of things stem from childhood, stem from attachment issues, stem from abandonment issues, stem from never really seeing a healthy relationship.
Wow. And I just want to say this one other thing here, James. So for everybody listening, because we're live on Facebook, we're live on Twitter, we're live on my YouTube page, Encouragement by Design. I want to make sure everybody hears this man's testimony. Thank you, brother. I applaud you for your courage, your bravery, and your determination. But everybody, I want you to hear what James Gause Jr. just said a couple of minutes ago. So he had one problem that he was dealing with or thinking he was dealing with, which created another layer of behavior that was negative, which was the result of the original behavior, which sparked and prompted additional negative behaviors that he was using and trying to find refuge in to try to get comfort for the original issues. So there were the original set of issues, then the drinking, and then the eating, then the drinking, and then the masquerading around like everything is okay. So you see the point, folks? This is not in judgment at all. I've been there. For anybody out there listening, you've been there too, if you're honest. Don't mistake certain sets of behaviors as being isolated, number one. Number two, understand that our issues, we are complex beings, and our issues are also sometimes completely and totally complex, which means we need some complex solutions, which is one of the reasons I wanted to have this man come on to share. I am a huge advocate for mental health. James, please don't lose your thought. I got to say this, folks, because of my advocacy for mental health, having been there, and as a coach, I encounter people all the time that while I'm coaching them, I see them, I start to realize that they're becoming unraveled emotionally or mentally. So I have come to find one thing out. I'm going to put this across the bottom of the screen, folks. James, while you were talking, my friend, I hope you didn't think I was being rude or anything. I was typing feverishly so I could put this crawler across the bottom of the page. Folks, listen up. There is an incredible resource available nationally here for those of us in the United States. It is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 800-273-8255. Here's why I bring this up and put it on the screen. Because if you're struggling with any mental and emotional health-related issues, I want you to get help. James is going to tell you what he did to get out of this hole he was in, and it is an extraordinary story, I know. But listen, he's in therapy today, he said. Weekly, he realized there was a problem. If you haven't realized that, call the number. And here's why I put this number on the screen, folks. They are available 24/7, 365. They will take your call anonymously. You don't need health insurance. It's a free service. And here's the beauty of it. They will accept your phone call whether you are in crisis or not. So you don't have to be suicidal to call. You can simply call them and say, hey, look, I don't feel like I'm going to harm myself, but I just need to talk some things out. Can somebody just listen to me for a few minutes? And they will help you in what they call cold or warm situations. You don't have to be on the edge of a ledge to get help. They will help you with everyday matters and situations. Folks, as a coach, I use them regularly because I need that balance. If me helping people at the rate and as much as I give, I need to make sure that my camp, my shop, my scales are even. So I use this service, which is why I can share this information with confidence that they can help. And I want you to tap into them. I don't have any affiliation to them. They don't pay me. I'm not a spokesperson. That's not what this is. This is a resource that I use, that I give to my coaching clients, and I want to make it available to everybody listening. And I'm sure James doesn't mind that we're giving this kind of help and assistance out there. So please take us up on this. James, take it away from me, sir. Going back to what you were saying originally.
So my initial reach out for help was thankful with my employer. When you call the HR department, they have programs where then HR goes into a confidential setting, and they actually cover the services when you need certain assistance, certain help. Good. So my initial reach out was the suicide hotline, and then other services that they had offered. So got through that, did those couple of talks and meetings and different sessions, and then I stopped because what a lot of folks, when they're in situations, you will think immediately after you go through a couple of sessions, a couple, sit downs, you're good because you're feeling better from that moment.
Right.
But what happens is it's like a false positive.
Wow, that's really powerful, brother. Wow. Talk to us, brother.
Because that moment hasn't resolved all of the other stuff that's still underlying. So if you're not careful, what will end up happening is it'll resurface. So I had stopped. I'm thinking in my head, all right, I'm good. I'm better. I'm on the road to recovery on my own.
Right.
I was out one evening, just myself, and God orchestrated a connection with someone while I was out that evening. I was out to dinner by myself. He orchestrated a connection with someone, and we ended up connecting. And that connection, and it wasn't, we're not talking about like a love or intimate connection to continue in my healing process.
Got you.
Because of that connection that he orchestrated, he placed this person who's now like, okay, I see some things. I'm going to take the helms to help get you healed.
Wow. That's powerful.
So it's like now we're each other's healing accountability partners.
That's really crazy.
Because they also seen some things, says, you know what? I need that. So it opened the door of, why did you stop counseling? Maybe you need to look back into it.
Wow.
Fast forward to now, I'm there every week.
I hear you.
We need to work on this other stuff. Fast forward to now, I have lost now over 50 pounds, if not more.
Wow.
Because they have got it, we're going to change up your whole eating. We're going to change up all of this. When you're battling depression and all of that other stuff, you begin to make bad diet choices.
Uh-huh.
You begin to make bad lifestyle choices. None of your choices are conducive to you, but they appear to be because in the mindset that you are at that time.
Got you.
So ultimately, you're doing what makes you feel good. But what makes you feel good may not be good for you.
Got you. Wow, that's pretty deep.
And so you have to go through that. And one thing you have to understand is the enemy knows you. He knows your weaknesses for sure.
Uh-huh.
So he knows where to come at, especially at the most inopportune time for you, but the most opportune time for him.
Got you. James, can I just ask us to pause for just a second? Can you, I want to, that last statement was epic. I hope everybody heard that. Timing is critical. The enemy's attack, for those of us that understand that there is an enemy that is warring for our minds and our hearts, trying to disrupt God's plan in our lives. So for those of us that understand that this enemy, the scriptures say, is constantly on the prowl. But what I wanted to say, James, was can you just go back to your statement before you mentioned about the enemy to help everybody understand the importance, brother, of having an accountability partner on any kind of journey of healing? Can you talk to us about that for a second and then come back to where you were, if you wouldn't mind, please? Thank you, sir.
Sure. They have truly, if God didn't orchestrate that connection, I wouldn't be where I'm in right now. I wouldn't be on this call, on this podcast with you right now. I wouldn't be in the healing and better state that I'm in right now.
Got you.
Because of that orchestration, he knew exactly who to bring, when to bring.
Okay.
Exactly who I needed, when I needed.
Sure. So
he brought this person, and they have been the most intricate part of my healing process.
Well, hallelujah, man. That's
and wonderful. Not to say that others close to me haven't tried.
Right.
I don't want to discredit the ones who I've grown up with, the ones close to me. But oftentimes, those who are familiar to us are too familiar to us.
Right.
So they are trying to help us, but we're not looking at it like that.
Right.
Because they're too familiar to us.
Right.
So oftentimes God has to bring someone who we're not really familiar with to somewhat echo what's been being said for the longest time.
Wow, man, that's
But
really
then when
powerful.
he brings that person in, it's like, you know what? You're right. You know what? Maybe I need to do this.
Right.
And so when that person takes a serious, true, honest, genuine investment in you, and you know that it's coming from the heart, your motivation and your desire for it now changes.
Right.
Because now you not only don't want to let yourself down, you don't want to let them down.
Right.
And then you don't want to let God down.
Uh-huh.
Because God orchestrated this connection.
Sure.
So God's like, I took the time out to orchestrate this, and this how you gonna act?
Right.
I was telling one of my best friends the other night, me and him were talking. I said, bro, I don't want to, I'm not going to dishonor God. I don't want to let them down or none of that. And I said, because I've come to the realization that even in my unfaithfulness, God still sustained me and maintained me because I'm still here.
Right.
What more would he do now in my faithfulness?
Wow. Oh, that's deep, brother. That'll preach all by itself, won't it?
You know?
Right.
If he's done this much thus far to protect me, sustain me, provide for me, keep me, heal me, help me, carry me through all of this time in my unfaithfulness, now what would he do when I show him my faithfulness?
Yeah, when you pull it together, what can be the possibilities, right?
What would he do now?
Wow.
Because a lot of times, a lot of things that we're praying for God for and wanting God to do, is God is sitting there saying, okay, I got you, and I have no problem doing it because I'm God. I can do it. But show me how bad you really want it.
Right.
Show me your faithfulness, and then I'll show you mine.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful, brother. Show me your faithfulness, and I'll show you mine. You know, one of my favorite scenes, Brother James, is in the scriptures. And I say when I get to heaven, I want to ask God to rewind this because I want to see this up close on the big screen in Technicolor. Is when Moses gets to the edge of the Red Sea. He's got 2 million belly aching Jewish people behind him, and he's got the Egyptian army closing fast. And he stands there and he looks up to heaven, and he's like, "Okay, God, what do I do?" And God, it says in the scriptures that God replied to him and said, "Moses, what did I tell you to do?" And my point I want to share with viewers is very often we look to heaven and heaven is looking at us going, "I'm waiting on you.
I'm waiting on you.
I'm waiting on you,
And
Moses."
how many Red Seas have we stood in front of?
Right. There you go. Come on, preacher.
And we're looking up to God saying, I'm standing here and they on my back. God said, well, what do you want me to do? I've given you everything to do.
Right.
What do you have in your hand? I've already given it to you.
There you go. What's in your hand, baby? What's in your hand, Moses?
Right. What's in your hand?
That is awesome, man. Brother James, we're going to have many more opportunities to say some things. But right now, with the energy and the spirit is as high as it is, look into the camera for me and talk to the James Gause Jr. out there who may be listening, and talk to that man or woman who may be in dire straits. They've dug themselves a hole. Talk to them to help them to understand that it can get better. They will be delivered, that things will change, and that hope is going to be everything they need to see a transformation. Take a minute, look into the camera, and talk to the person that's in the situation that you were in, because they need to hear from you right now, brother. Would you mind?
Don't let anyone, anything, any situation, any past, any worries, any anxiety stop you, block you, or get in the way of you becoming a better you. Don't let any of that, because God doesn't desire for any of us to be miserable, to be sorrowful, to live each day hurt or frustrated, angry, stress, worry. No. So don't let any of that. People will try to project all of that on you. And at the end of the day, it's only between you and God.
Right.
That's it. So whatever you need to do to get to that place of that mindset, you go to God. Every resource out here that is provided, God placed them there for a reason. I call them God-friendly folks.
There you go.
Or you know, God. There's one of the things that God often uses in the Bible, the fig tree. If you look at a fig tree, it has a low stump and its branches are real low.
Mm-hmm.
So a fig tree is mainly climber friendly. It's not an oak tree. It's not a big evergreen. It's a strong, short, climber friendly tree.
Well, I like that, man. I like
God
that.
will
Write that
place
down.
climber friendly people in your life to say, I know you're not going to be able to do this on your own. And oftentimes we're going through that. I know you don't hear me clearly. So let me send someone in your life so they can help you climb out of this.
Wow. That's powerful.
Pay attention to those folks that God sent in your life.
Wow, that's really powerful. James,
I'm
I just love what you
thankful
said.
for the climber-friendly person God has sent in my life, because I would not be in this position where I am now.
I hear you. I love everything you just said. I want to make sure everybody hears the man of God tonight. Whoever you are and you're struggling like this, what he said to you was this: this situation is not your portion. It's not your inheritance. Don't accept it. It's not where you are supposed to be. You may be here now. You have a temporary parking pass. God is going to give you a permanent domain. So you're going to be moved from here into your promised land, is what the man of God is having you to understand today. James Gause Jr., God bless you, brother. Now bring us home. Tell us what life is like now. You said you lost weight. Your diet has changed. You're seeing a therapist regularly. You got some additional people in your camp. What else is God doing for you? When we talked, you said you were thinking about reviving an old project that you were involved in because you felt like God was having you to reconnect and putting some of the broken pieces together for you to set you back in place. I don't know if you want to go into that and any other things you want to testify to that is the result of this brave step that you've made, and now you're seeing God's faithfulness come to you in a greater way. Talk to us a little bit more about what's happening currently, if you would mind, please, sir.
Currently, still going through healing. And please, people, don't get the misconception that when you're going through healing, that every day is going to be great. You're going to have some bad days. It's going to happen. But the good thing is,
Okay. All right. Everybody, we're going to pause for just a second. We've got James Gause Jr. on the broadcast. We're live. We're streaming to Facebook. We're streaming to the Encouragement by Design channel, and we're streaming to Twitter. If you're with us, we thank you, sir, very much. This is When Men Speaks, Man to Man. We like to bring African-American men on so we can highlight their beauty and brilliance, to share with the world the things that beat the heart, that pump the blood, that excite our viewer, our guests in the African-American mind and heart. And we want to bring those things to bear. Looks like we just lost our guest, so we'll try to get him back here in just a second. But thank you so much for watching. While he prepares himself to come back on, we apologize for the technical issues. I want to just remind everybody, if you're in need of help emotionally, psychologically, mentally, don't stay in your circumstances. There is an immense resource available for you in the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. The number is calling at the bottom of your screen there, 800-273-8255. They are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Here's the best part. They are anonymous. They are free. It doesn't require insurance. And there are no strings attached. There's no obligation for the help they give you. And most of all, not only is all of that available, but you can talk to them whether you are in crisis or not. You don't have to be considering hurting yourself or other people. You can just simply want to talk some things out. You can just simply want to relieve yourself of the burdens you've been carrying emotionally, mentally, psychologically, and you may just want to have somebody listen. I use them all the time. Been using them the last 5 years. I discovered them as a tremendous resource. They are one of those things in my corner that I rely on regularly. And I will call them and I will say, hey, look, I'm dealing with XYZ problem. I'm not in a place where I feel like I'm going to harm myself or anybody else. I just need a cold call moment or two. I just want to talk some things out. And I'll say, look, here's what I'm dealing with. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I feel like my answer, my solution might be. And I just want to ask that somebody hear me through this process. So I call them to hold myself accountable with the things that I know I need to do and the steps I know I need to make. Because truth be told, my listening and viewing friend, the Lord has put the answers, the solutions inside of you. Heaven is inside of you in that the makeup and the plan of God you've had the entire time. So don't be afraid to connect with who God is as he has given you a portion of his spirit for you to rely on, to buoy you, to keep you uplifted, to keep wind under your wings so you can stay in flight. My listening and viewing friend, be encouraged. We're going to give James Gause Jr. an opportunity to chime back in with us. Hopefully he can. If not, we'll need to just do a part two. No love lost and no harm, no foul. Everything that we wanted to communicate has been communicated tonight. So listen, this is going to be available as a link that you can view on my YouTube page, Encouragement by Design. Go out there, you'll see this broadcast and so many other things from this particular series. This is episode 7 in this series, but everything on that page, everything on that YouTube page is for the benefit of you, our listening and viewing friend. It provides you the opportunity, a jumping off point, a flag to be waved for you to get ready, get set, and to go, to run around the track of life, to improve yourself professionally, personally, to spark growth and development in the ways that you need it most. That's why this channel was created. That's why James Gause Jr. was on this broadcast. That's why the broadcast I did earlier talking about family, marriage. That's why the broadcast I did prior to that, talking about money, talking about entrepreneurship. All of these things we're doing because we put this whole channel together with you in mind. We want to empower you. We want to encourage you. We want to motivate and inspire you to be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. Check in with us on the YouTube page, Encouragement by Design. Anything you like, make sure you like, give us a thumbs up, add comments, and most of all, my listening and viewing friends, be sure, if you wouldn't mind, to subscribe to the channel. We're going to be here. We're growing. Our plan is to increase the content on our channel, so we give and offer 24 hours of programming, 24 hours of family-friendly content for your growth's sake. That's why we're doing this. That's why it's here. And everything's free of charge. All it costs is your time and your willingness to invest in you. Mental health is a very, very important thing, no matter the community you're from, whether it's African American, whether it's Asian, whether it's European on any level, Irish, Russian, Polish, whatever. Mental health is important for all of us. My mental health is important for me, but my mental health is also important for you because you want a James who is aware of his issues and who is hopefully getting the help he needs so that you don't have to deal with a James that's unraveling, a James that's coming unglued, whether before your eyes or somewhere in your presence. We want you to be the best versions of yourself. So we got James Gause Jr. back, and we're thankful and grateful for God to that. So we're going to add him back to the stream. James, you with us, buddy?
I'm here. I don't know what happened. This is what happens when you use work computer. They decide to do stuff at the last minute.
Hey, that's cool, man. I'm glad you persevered and kept at it and joined us. Thank you. I was just keeping everything alive for you, believing that you would be able to rejoin us. So I just did a real quick kind of a PSA, reminding everybody, about the YouTube channel, about where to go to like this video, how it was going to be available right after this. But I was also promoting the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. Before you dropped off the call, we were going to have you speak a little bit more about some of the good things God is doing for you in your life on this side of your healing process. Take it away with that, if you could, please, sir.
Career-wise, it's going great. Churches is going great. I have my best friend. Was not that we're not blood related. He is my brother. The Pastor Gabriel P. Churn. He started a new ministry, launched out a new ministry back in November called Relaunch Church, Relaunch Nation. Asked me to come partner with him, be his assistant, his associate there. So the ministry is going well. God is blessing. We are growing. Currently looking for a permanent location. Believing God to just open that one door. So we are thankful and looking forward to that. And then, James, some years ago, I was in the process of trying to grow and build a transportation company.
I remember a very profitable one, in that you had grown it very quickly, and it was a substantive company. I used your services, family members used your services, and so I know it was a big help to the citizens here in Baltimore City. How's that going, brother?
I actually, the company had fell off. No blame on anyone. One of the things that I have learned in this healing process is that oftentimes things that we desire and want, our heart desires and want them, but mentally we're not ready for them.
Uh-huh.
So there are things that I prayed for and desired for back during that time that, had God given it, I would have misappropriated. I would have messed it up badly.
Good point. Very good point.
So
brother.
God is not going to release anything that he knows that you're going to jack up. So, let me get you straight.
Right.
And then once I get you straight, then I release it. Because one thing also is that when God puts a dream in you, puts something in you, it's not just there temporarily and then to go away. No, it's there for a reason.
Yeah.
And he will nag at you to get you together in order for that dream to come to pass, to come to fruition.
Good point.
Because it's needed and it's too valuable. And it will reach a point in life where, okay, let me really put hands on you, because I'm not going to allow you to mess this up.
Right.
And so going through my healing season, and now it's been nagging back at me, and I'm like, all right, I hear you. And so now it's not a thing of picking up where you left off, because where you left off, you wasn't right.
Right.
So it's a thing of starting back from the beginning, starting back from the basics. So that's where I'm at now. With I'm thankful for my career and everything. I'm thankful for ministry, and because I have a career, because I have ministry, does not mean that your dreams cannot be also utilized or done. God has created us to exceptionally for us not to be exceptional.
Right. Wow, that's really powerful. Say that one more time, brother. For anybody that missed
God
it.
has
Say that
created
one more time
us.
for people in the back.
God has created us too exceptionally for us not to be exceptional.
Wow, I like that, man. I'm gonna have to give you an offering. I'm gonna use that one more time. Okay? Awesome. Wow, that's really powerful, man.
Yeah, he's put too much in us for us to just sit here and settle for this or that. Nah.
Well, you say that's not the way it works, right?
No, you can't settle. So
okay.
So my settling days are over.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. As awesome and as rich as this has been, Brother James, we are nearing the end of our allotted time. Do me a favor, my brother. If there was one phrase or sentence that you want to make sure the viewers and the listeners of this broadcast would take away from this broadcast after having heard you, give them a phrase that would be memorable for them as a takeaway from this. What would you say to them, brother?
Do your best, be your best, because God has done or created you no less.
I like that. I like that. Any other resources that we didn't call by name that you feel like you want to have people to know about? We talked about the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. I guess you would tell people to make sure they get connected to their employer-based mental health programs, right?
Yeah, there are, and what I didn't realize, a lot of companies, big and small, um, especially local, state, and federal government, their HR departments have access or resources for that.
Wow, that's really awesome. Really awesome. Really informative too.
Yeah, they're there for you to the extent that many of them is no out of pocket cost to you.
Right.
So there's no excuse not to get the help when it's there.
I like that, Brother James. I thank you so very much, brother. We're going to have you back for part 2. No doubt about it, man. Thank you so much, man. I mean, I hate to tell people that I'm proud of them because that makes me feel like I'm so old or I'm a parent. I got to say, man, I'll say it this way. I salute you, brother, because I know it was difficult. You made it very clear. God is doing some wonderful things, but this journey has not been easy. Thank you for being transparent, and thank you for being so willing as an African-American man of your great stature to come on live and to put your business out there for the sake of somebody else being encouraged. Thank you so much, brother. Don't go
Thank you
anywhere.
for
We're going to
having me.
officially, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Not a problem. I'm going to go ahead and officially close things out. Stay on the line for me, please. And I'm going to circle back around after I close things out officially. Well, guys, you've had it. You've heard it. You've had it. It's been given to you as a smorgasbord. All kinds of information, all kinds of encouragement, all kinds of empowerment, all kinds of things were given by this man to you. If you are in that situation that he described and explained, or if you know somebody that might be, somebody that currently is, hear the man's testimony. You don't have to stay there. It's not your portion in life. God didn't intend for you to be there. You're just passing through. I heard somebody say, if you're catching hell, then drop it. Don't hold on to it any longer than you need to. So this is a situation that you're going through. Be sure to keep moving, but understand the weakness that exists. We can't fix this. This is something we'll need to call in help. You'll definitely need to continue to look to the Lord and listen to what he says and does and pay attention to the people that he brings your way. Maybe James Falcon, maybe James Gause Jr. were the people that God brought to you tonight. Whoever you are, my listening and viewing friend. This has been James W. Falcon, founder, host of this broadcast and the Encouragement is Need Network, with our illustrious guest, our very special guest, and my longtime friend, James Gause Jr., as he testifies to recovering from and being empowered by a new understanding of the importance of mental health. Use the resources that'll be here. They'll be in the comments section once this gets fully posted on the YouTube channel, Encouragement by Design. And my listening and viewing friends, whatever you do, however you do it, get, be, and stay encouraged. This has been Man to Man. So check us out for more things that are going to be developing, because we did all of this with you in mind. So whoever you are, my listening, viewing friends, peace and power to you and yours. Take care. Have a great night.